Okay, it's 7:15. I'll call to order the regular scheduled Public Works and Public Utilities Committee meeting. Attendance has already been taken, so we'll move on to comments from citizens.
Please and thank you. Are we in the process of sending out some sort of an email, or not email, newsletter about the recycling changes?
Where our newsletters are, we're no longer sending out paper copies of newsletters. When we get the new billing system and we get a new postage system where we send out full page bills, we'll be able to send an additional page, so we can probably send something like that. We've been posting it everywhere, but no, as far as a newsletter, I don't know if it was in the newsletter that's
We
being
have these on the
emailed out.
counter that we've been giving to everybody.
Yeah, but not everybody is paying attention to them. I'm just
They're
asking
all
because
online.
I've been talking to a lot of the senior citizens in town who weren't aware that there was any kind of changes being made because they either don't get the paper, they don't have computers, internet, cell phones. You know, a lot of old people still have flip phones and they don't get anything else. And so they were all jumping this morning, why are they not them? Okay, this is something new. I've been out of town. I don't know all the details, but there's a lot of people that have a lot of questions about what's going on with recycling at this point.
We've taken a lot of phone calls too.
Oh, I'm sure
It's
you have. And as the time goes on, because not everybody recycles every time,
Right.
so, you know, for the next couple of months, you're gonna have lots more questions, but I was just curious because everybody's confused at this point as to what we're recycling and what we're not recycling. I took some stuff up to the containers 3 weeks ago. There was bags of plastic bags in there, which I know are not supposed to be recycled. There was candy bar wrappers, granola bar wrappers, all that stuff that's not recyclable. So the question is then, do they trash that whole container of stuff because of that? I don't know how they do it.
I haven't heard that they do that.
I think if it's like a bag and there's a lot of trash in it, that whole bag, they're not gonna sort it, they're gonna trash it. I mean, that's what, when we go clean up around there, we pick up a bag and it's mostly trash, which about half the time it is, we'll just throw it in the dumpster.
Well, there was an article in the Tribune about 3 weeks ago that Laura Watkins had posted on Facebook after I mentioned some changes or whatnot. And they're saying that if there's any kind of paper attached to plastic or metal attached to plastic, it automatically gets tossed. If you're not cleaning out your mayonnaise, your peanut butter, whatever type sticky jars, that stuff automatically just gets tossed. If we're not picking up newspaper and cardboard now, a lot of the people that I've been talking to over the last couple of weeks are saying, well, we're just gonna stop it. We're not gonna recycle anything because we don't know what we can recycle. And they don't, some of them won't go to the containers and dispose of stuff, so they're just gonna be trashing it. And so I just, you know, we need something so that people know what we're doing and what we're not.
Sure. We
And
try to
then-
get that out as many outlets as we possibly can. We didn't do a mass mailing, that's the only thing that we didn't do.
Yeah.
We posted it, we put it on the internet, we put it on Facebook, we put it in the paper. We literally try to do every outlet other than
I
mailing it to every
understand,
single
but I'm just,
household.
yeah, but
Because that
see,
gets expensive.
Well,
Is it posted
and it gets
on the
tossed.
trash cans out there?
Yeah, there's signage on the trash cans, unless it's the trash can, or sorry, unless it's the recycling bin that comes from the county. Whenever they switch it out, because we still haven't gotten our second one. It's
And
ours,
regardless,
there's signage.
nobody's rating it over there. It's,
No.
like Glenn said, it's full of, there's trash everywhere. I mean, it's,
And I
regardless of
know
how
a
much
lot of people
signage you
pay
put out
attention.
there, it
yeah,
doesn't
it's not
make a
gonna make
difference.
any difference. And so I guess the other question then that I wanna throw into this is, we're paying Danes to pick up the recycling. Since they're not picking up paper and glass anymore, are we reducing what we're paying to them?
No.
Or is it even worth trying to continue to do? I mean, I don't know, I'm just throwing something out there. I mean, if we're paying them a lot of money and they're no longer picking that stuff up, and as I well know, they used to just compact it and shatter glass everywhere, which then makes it all contaminated, then it's a wasted expense.
It's definitely something we should consider. I would say that I don't feel that it will reduce the amount that citizens pay every month, even if Danes is not picking it up, because we do
Well,
have
I'm not
additional
looking at
costs
that.
with containers over there that,
No, I'm not saying that we should reduce what the people are paying. We should be reducing what we're paying to Danes if they're not gonna be picking up whatever.
is that something we should
The
discuss?
struggle with that, it's gonna take them the same amount of gas to drive around town, same amount of hours to run through town, if they're doing any recycling pickup at all. So
That
the
was the problem
expense,
we did, it was, you drove up and down every street.
yeah, the expense is the same for them, whether they're picking up the paper and cardboard or not. You might save a few minutes a day because you have less homes you stop at, but they're still, the gas, the hours are.
Well, I guess
very,
the
very
other
close.
question is how much are we really even utilizing the recycling?
And that's
it's
worth,
gonna-
and that's
it's-
worth evaluating to see.
A couple of months down the road, especially, we need to look at it with the fact that we're making so many changes as to what can be picked up. I mean, if we can't recycle glass, we can't recycle papers and cardboard, that doesn't leave a whole lot. I mean, we recycle our own aluminum cans, cause I'm gonna take the money for that, I'm not giving it. I mean, we don't, the city doesn't get money for the aluminum cans, does it? It just all gets hauled in there and whatever. So, I mean, you get some of my plastic and some of my just regular cans, and that's the extent of it. So, anyway, thank you.
Okay, we will close comments from citizens. The electric report, the electric department activity report is in the packet.
Jeff's not here, he's suffering from pretty severe neck problems right now, he's trying to get that straightened up. A couple things I'll kind of highlight for him, and I want to kind of hold one until he's here next month to get a little more information from him, but we did contact the ESP on the street lighting that we're having the issues with. They are gonna send replacement bulbs the correct size so that those adapters can be taken out. They're gonna send about 4 cases right now. We're not sure how big the cases are. We're thinking about 20 to a case. But I mean, that'll be a good start. And definitely, you know, we've done probably 20 right now. So that will help. He wanted to be informed on how quick and how much more we're seeing. So, but they were willing to do that, and they admitted that that was an issue that they weren't aware of, their contractor had done. So. And the other thing I want to point out at the bottom, second from the bottom there, where Jeff wrote that he worked on some capacitor banks. I think by talking to some people, he's found a way, maybe instead of having to replace that whole pole line from like the vet clinic out to Country Club Estates, we were talking about either the pole line or going underground some way there, so we can get more constant power out there on the very east side. He can increase his capacitors, I think, if I'm understanding this right, and it'd be considerably cheaper. I mean, you may have up to $5,000–6,000 total, where we were talking about 20 per line by adding that. And you can do it in a couple of spots. Jeff will be back next month once he gets a little more information, but what he's checked earlier, it could help quite a bit. So I'll let him explain that a little more next month.
Good. Any questions on the electric report?
They've been cutting a lot of trees.
Nothing for generation and purchase, nothing for distribution. Under other, we have an AMI lease update.
So this is the most recent update after all of the bids came in, and you have a summary of those bids in your packet. The cover sheet shows the top 2 companies. Well, actually that just shows the top 1 company in the cover sheet, but then the next sheet after shows the top 2. And they were very close. They were, the one that came in with the lowest percentage rate, best cost overall for the city was Zion's Bank. The interest rate was 2.05%. The next one, and I asked them to include this, give us a comparison so that we could make the best decision possible, was US Bank, and it came in at 2.054%. So they were very close. The difference over the whole entire cost of the lease purchase is $82.20. So, this will officially be accepted by ordinance in March, but I would like a decision from the board tonight so that we can go ahead and get the paperwork drawn up and we can start working on all of the closing documents.
Where's Zions Bank from?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with.
It's over in the St. Louis area. I asked that, they said it's more over in the St. Louis area.
Okay.
It's a large established bank, no concerns.
Is it big as the US Bank? I mean, I've never heard of them at all, so I'm just curious.
Nearby.
I don't think $82 is all that significant, on like what this is.
Right, and we were looking at the 5-year option on this. I had already budgeted, just preliminary numbers, because the mayor was able to talk to, Annixter and got, 5% reduced off of the price of the AMI system. So, we were able to knock that down. So we're looking at potentially $730,000 instead of $750,000, but I really think, actually, no, it's actually $691,000 is what we're looking at this time now. So we got that knocked down, and that price down significantly.
I remember looking through this and seeing something on if a purchase versus a lease. Wasn't there something in there on that?
I don't know, it's a lease purchase financing.
I don't remember anything on that.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of something else.
But the annual, amount that I had budgeted for the next several years was $165,000. And so, if we went with Zion's Bank, it's $155,000, so we're already $10,000 lower than what we had anticipated on these purchase payments. One thing that the banks did ask for was what the useful life of the meters was, just to, decide on the terms of the loan, you know, the years that they would be willing to go out. And we got that information back, it was 15 to 20 years
Right.
useful life on the meters, so,
Hopefully they won't be out.
right.
Way technology changes.
Mhm.
We want a decision on yes, on which one.
Which bank you would prefer to go with, Zion's Bank or US Bank? Those are the top.
It's hard, I know nothing about Zion's Bank, so at that close of a price difference, $80 over 5 years, I'd go with US Bank. It's a national bank, that's my 2 cents on it. It's a
Right.
national bank, it's gonna be there. I've never heard of Zion's, and I don't wanna, I'm not saying anything bad about them, I just,
Sure.
no knowledge whatsoever.
That would be my concern. I don't think $82 is all that significant. I don't think we're gonna worry about that.
No.
But I mean, I've never heard of Zions Bank before either.
When I talked to Martin with Stiefel, he said that they had, financed some big projects for other municipalities and school districts. They worked with them quite a bit, but I had never heard of them until we got this information back either.
I think US Bank's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds like we're all or mostly all in agreement on that, okay? Let's see, that brings us down to Public Works. Bill, your activity report's in the packet, anything you wanna point out to us?
Mostly, plowing snow and working on drainage.
And there's more coming.
Pretty much all,
We did get another load of salt, so we should be in pretty good shape, I think.
yeah, we should have plenty of salt and everything for the rest of the winter unless it stretches out really long. We should be good though.
Where are we compared to previous years on salt? We've probably used a little more
We,
this year.
we've used more just because it's just been a lot more ice and we've been ordering it because we had so much trouble getting it last year, so as soon as we got rid of Mike was trying to get us another load in.
Yeah, they made the mistake of telling me which trucking firm actually gets it out. They get the order and send it, but they gave me the trucking firm, so I just called them, we got next day deliveries.
Yeah, so it's worked out really well.
That works.
We are gonna, I can't remember if we mentioned
I don't
last
think we
time,
have,
we're gonna
yeah.
try to expand our salt, maybe go one more width wide so we can hold it. That way we'll definitely have it,
Yeah,
and
we can double it and we can put up to 4 semi-loads.
and it carries over fine, so.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as it's stored properly.
Yep, yep.
Okay, any questions on the activity report? Okay, so the next item here is street sweeper for the 2021 budget.
This is really just for your information. This is, information on the street sweeper. They came back and gave us a quote, for a 4-year lease, with a trade-in.
Did you say 4-year?
It's the 3rd page. The payment's a difference of $14,746 a year. It brings the payment down to almost $41,000 from 55,715.
With going, I'm a little reluctant to pass up that $6,500 on trade-in, because I don't know with the shape that sweeper's in, if we're gonna get much more out of that. I think
That may
that's,
be a
if we
tough
can
sell.
do it,
Yeah.
if we can do that, my feeling, and hit the guy that come up and looked at it, he said, you better take it and run, so.
Has he come up and looked at it?
Yeah.
They have come and looked at it, and I think, to be honest, we're probably, he's trying to give us a sale just by giving us that much for it. 'Cause,
My guess is, I know there's been lots of problems with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they spent a big part of last winter just rebuilding everything,
Yeah.
and we're still having issues with it. It's just, there's not much left there to work with. It's a
Right.
97,
It's
it's
got,
got 7,000
yeah,
hours.
it's got, 7,000 hours on the machine. It's just been run hard.
Would we be doing the first payment due 30 days or first payment due 1 year?
30 days.
Saves about $2,000 a month. Well, okay. Not as much money as I thought.
And they brought this exact machine up and we've looked at it and run it. It's a little smaller than what we've got, but it's perfect size. It'll really work well in some of the smaller areas, cul-de-sacs, and we're not that far from where we dump it, so it's not that big a deal on a smaller hopper.
It does have a capability to dump into a dumpster. If
Yeah.
you had something spilled in one area and you pulled something up to it, you could do that, so. It is a nice small unit. I think it'd be a lot easier to maintain and keep around.
And then Timco actually offers a class if we want to send somebody down to their factory to learn maintenance, how to upkeep the machine, so we can even do that down the road.
I know the 2021 budget's not done. Do you-
That's when
I
we-
passed another one down there, yeah. Thank you.
55.
Thank you.
So if we did before a year,
This gives me a little bit of heart for the interest.
yeah.
This is, a little over $3,000 more in interest.
Would he give us the trade-in value if we did the 3-year?
Well, I don't know if the 3 year is gonna be an option. We started out with that going, and if he did the trade-in, and I think because of what he's given us on the trade-in, I don't think he's gonna do it. 'Cause that's how we started that back in October. He started talking about that, but we told him we couldn't do that price, and he dropped it down, but I think this is pretty much all we're gonna be able to do.
It's 167 and some change using the 3-year at 55. It's 164. So our out-of-pocket expense still would actually be cheaper using the 4-year with the trade-in versus the 3-year. I know paying a little more interest and so.
Okay.
The out of pocket is less, and we don't have to figure out how we're gonna dispose of the
That's
old
true.
piece of equipment.
And there's less to pay for it up front.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, I like the 4-year with the trade-in.
okay. That's the way we were leaning, and we wanted to make sure you all were informed of that too. And that'll have to be passed later. We could probably have that in March,
So we'll be ready.
so it'll be ready to go April 1.
So it's a fairly quick turnaround from the time.
Yeah, he acted like they've got several units that he could probably get one pretty quick. It'd be a good time of year to get it actually too, the spring coming.
Yeah. Okay, anything for sanitation?
No?
Stormwater?
Plenty of that.
Other? Okay. Moving on to water, page 16 of the packets, the activity report for the water department. Matt, anything you want to point out?
Nope, just replacing some old services and had a few customer leaks, this last month that we've kinda assisted with a little bit, and other than that, pretty normal month.
Okay. Anything else for water? Sewer? Other?
Sewer side, just been, we've cambered a lot of the mains here, last month that we were needing to check up on, trying to get a list of stuff we can line if we get to that point. We've ran the camera a little bit to help customers out on some problems they were having, just to make sure it wasn't on their side. Went with Mike, we attended, Missouri Rural Water's, training in Monroe City, over some irrigation side of the stuff for our wastewater projects. I can't remember the company that the last guy that spoke.
I can't remember the name of it either actually right now.
He basically grows microorganisms and injects them into lagoon systems to help whatever problem they're having in their system.
Sludge, algae, whatever, and we were having an algae problem.
Algae and sludge definitely both are starting to creep up on us, so I talked to Mike about it. I think it'd be beneficial for us to speak to this guy and see what, he's pretty close, I think he's out of Kingdom City. So definitely wanna look into that, that may help us in the future on some.
I will point
Problems.
out also at corner of Jefferson and Tar, that house that's being remodeled there on the west side of the road has a sewer issue. They're gonna have to dig in Jefferson Street. And they're gonna go, hopefully not all the way across, they'll probably dig a hole right over the main, which is in the eastbound driving lane. And hopefully that's all they gotta do at that point. They're gonna try to bore underneath there to that point, tie it into the main, and then once they get into the yard, they'll replace what they need to from there. But there is gonna be a hole and a little bit of routing traffic around that, so we may need a little assistance.
Have you had any
People
more
over there.
conversation with them yet?
I talked to Don yesterday, and he said he's waiting for better weather, so.
I haven't heard any more about it.
Yeah, they're just trying to get 2-3 days. It won't take that long, but just to make sure he's got a good window to get it done.
Okay. Any other?
We have just an update on the water plant renovations and the wastewater, funding. We submitted all of the required documents, we're done, we're waiting on DNR to give us a response back on whether or not we're going to get the funding, which I don't think that it's really an issue, but for the water treatment plant so that we can get moving on that project. And then we've submitted the application to begin the process for the wastewater side.
We did pass our archaeological test on all the lagoon and new storage sites at the farmers, that's a plus. So, moving forward, I think while we were at that class, Aaron got a lot of information and took the engineers around so they could go over pumps, just double checking what sizes and making sure everybody's on the same page there, so. we're getting close, getting everything together.
So moving on to other, Mike, anything in your report you want to point out?
Not really, been working with the crews, I will say we've noticed a difference with Bill having the full four-man crew, just so everybody knows, it seems like he's been able to split up a little bit better. He's did some shift work when we've had the snows, which has made it a little easier on everybody, getting help from the other departments also too. The fourth man's definitely helped there, so I think that's been a big plus.
The only other thing that I would like to point out is the, planning and zoning had a meeting last week on a voluntary annexation by Darren and Michelle Adams. It's north town, and it's actually over there, kind of plans that eventually possibly you're gonna look at, but, that will, the second public hearing for that will be Tuesday in front of the board, because we are, Monday's holiday, so meeting's on Tuesday, next week.
Okay. We're not going to close session today. Any as may arise?
Oh, Chris asked me to, get your opinion on possibly changing the start times for our meetings from 7 to 6:30. So we have to pass a probably resolution on that, but, wanted opinions on it, so, for discussion. If you can think about it, let him know, that'd be fine.
Wait till it, I don't care.
Okay, Don, you can't have an opinion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
A motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor?